Some pretty incredible breaking news coming out today. Some huge news as we're hearing that with everything that's unfolded with the assassinations that have taken place over the last 48 hours against leaders of Hamas and Hezbollah, Iran now, headlines coming out today, is holding the United States directly responsible, blaming the United States for what took place in Tehran with the strikes, as the United States is denying any involvement. Now, wait till you hear what comes out of this. Iran is now saying to the United States, either one of two things is happening here. Either you are lying to us, or you are incompetent, your administration, and Israel is not confiding in you with the information of what it is that they are doing. And that means that you are losing control of what is taking place right now in the Middle East. And wait till you see what the world is saying about the United States right now. Headlines coming out today, this from the Times of India. Listen to this headline as what they are saying right now about the United States. The West's Mideast war nightmare. The United States and the European Union right now are going to Iran and pleading not to take revenge against Israel as they have lost control. This is what the headlines are coming out in other nations around the world. They are saying that the United States is not in control, they are incompetent, and they are essentially begging, groveling at the feet of Iran not to respond. This is what is coming out in headlines from other nations right now. And right now, headlines coming out from the Mideast crisis right now from the New York Times says fears of a wider Mideast conflict deepen, with the United States seen as not in control. Right now, the world is saying the United States has lost control of what is taking place in the Middle East. Iran directly blaming the United States, saying you should have had prior knowledge as to what has unfolded. This is a mar on Iran as you are hitting leaders from other places in our home territory. They're seeing this as a direct conflict, a strike against them. And headlines coming out in the last 24 hours that Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei orders direct attacks on Israel. The reports came out hours after the assassination of Ismail Hayani, and they are saying that there is going to be responses to this, and we're hearing that this could be an all-out war. Some saying this could even be World War III, that this conflict is going to spread significantly. Now, the United States responding to what is going on right now, and listen to this. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham says for military force against Iran over Hezbollah threats, calling for war with Iran, saying the United States, we should not be putting up with this. We need to just strike back Iran. We cannot take these threats anymore. We cannot have this back and forth. We cannot have the other nations saying we have lost control. We need to be a strong leader, go back in and start war. Let me know your thoughts on this. Now, this we're hearing could lead to World War III. Do you think that we should follow the lead here of Lindsey Graham and have military force against Iran right now over the threat of Hezbollah? I also shared with you in the last 48 hours that we've heard that Iran has now equipped Hezbollah with EMPs. There have been EMP warnings coming out to Israel and the United States as they're saying that they have now been equipped with these electromagnetic pulse weaponry that they could use to wipe out all electronic devices should they choose to use them. Now, in addition to that, just in case you're wondering how much of this is, maybe over-exaggerated or not, what we're hearing is coming out across the headlines as well in the last 24 hours is that the European Union and the United States, they are holding an emergency meeting. They are racing to prevent the Middle East war after Israeli assassinations against Hezbollah and Hamas. So right now, there's actually footage coming out of the United States and the European Union's coming together, holding an emergency meeting, trying to figure out how to de-escalate the situation. And as I mentioned, other nations coming out with articles. I'm actually looking at the footage right now. This one from the Times of India. They're saying the U.S. and the European Union are essentially pleading for Iran not to take revenge against Israel, getting into a conflict and an all-out war that they do not want to be a part of. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. A lot unfolding in the last 48 hours after we saw these assassination attacks happen. We saw leaders of Hezbollah hit. We saw the leader of Hamas hit, and that leader of Hamas was actually in Iran, in Tehran, when it was happening. We're hearing that this is huge. And as a result, Iran is responding. United States, Anthony Blinken coming out and saying, we had no idea this was taking place. Iran saying either you are lying or you are incompetent. Headlines coming out saying the United States is incompetent, not in control. Iran saying that there will be direct attacks, holding the United States responsible for what is going on. Attacks against Israel have now been ordered. We're hearing that this could go out into a massive conflict, a wider conflict in the region, but also all-out World War III could unfold here, as we also have Erdogan from Turkey saying he just wants the reason to attack Israel. We also have Yemen, Lebanon, several nations all around surrounding Israel now saying they are ready to attack. The United States and the European Union, we're hearing, scrambling to an emergency meeting to try to slow things down. And they're saying the current U.S. administration is not in control and they are incompetent. Let me know your thoughts. Now, in addition to that, we have elections that are right around the corner. Now, we're hearing that former President Donald Trump met with Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel. We are hearing that there was a meeting recently. Benjamin Netanyahu handed him a photo of one of the children that were kidnapped by Hamas. And they said the response that Trump said was, we will take care of this, saying that if he was in charge, that all of this will be coming to an end here. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think that it would be better if Trump were leading the United States in the middle of this? Right now, what we're hearing is other nations saying the U.S. has lost control of the Middle East, that there essentially is a vacuum, and we're about to spread out into a wider conflict with Israel, Iran, and all of those other groups right now that are hitting Israel. So I'm going to get you caught up on the latest. As you guys know, I cite all the sources. They are linked in the description below. I do everything like a book report so you can read it for yourself. Also, do me a favor. I see we've got 1,242 people on with me live. Please hit that like button. Helps spread this out further. We've got not even 300 likes. So if I could get half of the room to hit the like button, it would just help spread this out. If you appreciate the updates, also hit subscribe to stay up to date. Make sure you're stayed subscribed. A lot of people letting me know, we're not really sure why, but they're becoming unsubscribed from the channel, even if they didn't want to. Some people letting me know they've had to resubscribe to the channel about like 5 times now. I don't know what's going on. I think maybe YouTube thinks people are bots. Just go ahead and make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you turn on notifications to stay up to date. And you guys, this is a major escalation as to what is going on in the Middle East. We're hearing that this could cause all-out war. And they're saying that right now, with the elections going on, with this, what they're saying, lack of control by the current U.S. administration in the Middle East. One of these articles here said that they thought that it was going to be China that was going to start a major conflict. Another one said they thought it was going to be Russia that was going to just go into all-out war with other nations, but they're saying they didn't expect it to be Israel. So now some of the headlines coming out from U.S. media news is saying that Israel could be starting World War III, this happening while the current administration is seen as weak. Man, let me know your thoughts. In the last 24, 48 hours, a lot of thrashing on the United States, saying how could they let this happen? How could this unfold and them not even know? So some pretty intense stuff going on here. Like I said, we're hearing that this could be the beginnings of World War III right around the corner. Now, I'm going to get you caught up on the latest on this. And also additional resources linked in the description below for you. So that way you can go ahead and hit those links and provide you with additional stuff. I always say here on the channel, don't be scared, be prepared. Having knowledge of what's going on and then taking action to be prepared is the best thing. Knowledge is power, but the application of that knowledge is true power. So let's go ahead and dive right in, get you caught up on the latest. Now, this one coming out saying that Iran is holding the United States responsible for Tehran strike, as the United States is denying their involvement. Now, Iran's foreign minister said on July 31st yesterday that the United States must also bear the responsibility for the strikes that ended the life of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran that morning. This act of terror is not only a flagrant violation of the principles and rules of international law and the United Nations Charter, but also a serious threat to regional and international peace and security, the Iranian foreign minister said in a statement on Wednesday yesterday. The Islamic Republic of Iran emphasizes the responsibility of the U.S. government as a supporter and accomplice of the Zionist regime in the continuation of the occupation and genocide of the Palestinians. In committing this heinous act of aggression, they said in a statement. Now, the comments came shortly after U.S. Secretary Anthony Blinken said that the United States was not involved in the attacks. This is something that we were not aware of or involved in. It's very hard to speculate, Blinken said during an interview with Channel News Asia while on a trip to Singapore, responding to a question on how this development could impact the region. He added that the U.S. would do everything possible to secure a ceasefire and exchange of captives. Negotiations to reach a deal in Gaza, in which Hayani played a significant role, have been jeopardized by the assassination, according to regional officials. How can mediation succeed when one party assassinates the negotiator of the other side? Qatari Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdulrahman said via social media on Wednesday. Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei on July 30th said that Tehran would retaliate for Hayani's killing, which took place on its soil during a diplomatic visit, a flagrant violation of international law, he said. Israel has secured a harsh punishment for itself by assassinating Hayani. Revenge for Haneni, I'm not sure about the pronunciation, Haneni, who was assassinated in the sanctuary of the Islamic Republic of Iran, is our duty, he said. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, said Iran and Axis of Resistance as a whole would be responding to this assassination. The attack came hours after an Israeli airstrike on a residential building in the southern suburbs of Lebanon's capital, Beirut, which marked a serious escalation. 3 civilians, a woman and 2 children, lives were lost in the attack, and around 70 were injured. The target was Fouad Shakur, top military advisor to Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, and the director of the entirety of the resistance group's military operations. Now, this comes as we're also hearing that they're blaming the United States, saying they are not in charge. Here's one coming out from the New York Times. As fears of a wider Mideast conflict deepen, with the United States seen as not in control. American officials said that they had no advanced warning of attacks on the Hamas leader in Iran, raising worries of a power vacuum that could lead to a broader geopolitical crisis. Now, for months, diplomats and analysts in foreign capitals have worried that prolonged political upheaval in the United States could invite aggression abroad, whether in Russia's waging of war in Ukraine, North Korea's rogue nuclear ambitions, or China's expansionist designs in the South China Sea. Now, less than 100 days before Americans elect a new president, that broader geopolitical crisis has erupted in the familiar theater of the Middle East.